bunch of doors.
Mm-hmm. There's actually, I'm gonna actually go over this real quick. So, if you're looking at Cherno, right, and you want to build a pretty good fat base, this is obviously a concept, so hear me out. This is on the south side of Cherno City, okay? So, what this is here, and this is basically what big groups of DayZ players that play together build on, is this. So it's an island, okay? Essentially. So if you look here, this is the only way in. So if you block off this area with like walls, gates, barbed wire, there's a canal separating you from the rest of the city. So if you build walls, and this is a big, expensive, advanced build, but you actually build walls on the canal they can't jump over. So, and anybody that falls in has to swim to the nearest ladder. It's actually pretty unique in that way, but you have a lot of loot, um, resources around you like food, there's water, the PD inside of Cherno, and then, I mean, you pretty much lock down these buildings, get a lockpick, weapons, barrels, and whatnot. Now keep in mind there's a lot of car spawns in the area, so you can look out with your friends and basically uh, get the cars, build them up, get a car tent, put it in here. Now, I wouldn't suggest building here unless you absolutely have a big group of people. What is this? I don't know what this is. What is this? Elderberries. Okay. But this is a pretty good base location. Now, if you want to go through here and go ahead and loot cycle through all these individual buildings, I would do that. But remember, you can pick whatever building you want, put a gate in front of it, and then basically store your loot and have your stronghold here. It's perfect because once you lock down this area of this canal, you can pull your car anywhere, anywhere in this area. So keep that in mind. There's ammo that spawns here, clothing, sometimes guns. It's kind of a random loot roll, but you and your friends can definitely make use of this area. Now let's see what else we got here. Different kind of clothes. Um, Food is definitely a hefty resource in this area. Now, although it might take you a little while to find it, just remember do that loot cycling, and you should be good to go. Now, the good thing about this is you get to lock down um, these buildings individually, right? So you don't have to store all your loot in one spot, right? And that's the good thing about this. I like to call this Cherno Island because of the way it's set up. And then you go, obviously, you take it over properly. You're not going to have any problem going to get like more guns and stuff from the PD. You'll get the clothing of the PD, and you'll have that at your disposal. Now, you do have to be careful while building the base here because there's not a lot of industrial buildings to get the mats for bases. But east of this island is Cherno Industrial, so you can hit up those buildings and then actually come back and then start to build your base properly as you go through. Now, as far as building wise, you want to grab that pot. Building wise, you can pick whatever building you want, really, to kind of set up shop, but kind of take note where it's at, how far it's from industrial, where you're gonna go, and then how you're gonna move methodically through all these buildings. Now, I mean, like I said, the decision's up to you how to actually build in this area, but it is seriously a expensive build, and you're gonna have to be advanced at building in order to achieve such a big base here. So start small. Block off the canal, right? Put up like, I think it takes 3 or 4 walls. And then after that, choose a building and only block the doors. Because once you start using your lockpick and stuff and locking all these doors in the area around you, you're gonna be golden. I mean, as you can see, you have many buildings to loot cycle through, not just like one. So the loot yield here is gonna be high when it comes to like food, flips for guns, ammo, and whatnot. And that's pretty much what you have to look forward to when you move into Cherno. I like to call it Cherno Island. Um, Obviously, you know, you don't want to do this solo or duos because it's too big, too expensive of a build to achieve with 2 people or 1 person. But if you look at this area in the back, you have like a courtyard between all the buildings on this island, and you could pull in multiple cars here. You can have multiple buildings covering your car to where you're gonna have the best uh, coverage, zone coverage, I like to call it, on your vehicles and maybe your loot inside the courtyard. Now, that's not to say you have a lot of areas to lock off to keep the other survivors out, but you can really see with this area what you can do with it. Now, obviously, we're not built here. We're built in Cherno Industrial. But this would be a good location inside of Cherno City to build in. Just lock down one specific area. After you're done locking it down, then start moving through the buildings, looting them over and over again, loot cycling over and over again. Let me check. Okay. So that's kind of another idea, another concept of a base area that you might want to look into as you're going through and figuring out with your group of people where to build. This is just a suggestion. Obviously, if you're watching this on stream, it's, you know, up to you. If you're watching this in video form and you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a sub, follow, and like. And I'd like to say that this would be called Cherno Island base concept. Now, let's see what else we could find real quick. See if you could just tell. We're getting rounds here. We're getting helmets, gear, different kind of food, and obviously you have zombies and stuff here, so you can kill them for food as well if you're hard up on like food and backpacks, stuff like that. But you're only a trip away, and let's see, we got BKs that spawn here as well. You're only a trip away from Cherno Industrial, that's east of this location. That way you can kind of transfer your loot over. You can get base mats over there, and then you obviously have the car spawns in the local area. Now, another good thing about this is it's near the Cherno Freshie spawn. So, obviously, if you're a fresh spawn, you can come over here and kind of scout the area to see who's already taken over the area. But realistically, I think this base concept area is going to pay off, be a good payoff for like a group of people. Now, I mean, if you're solo or duo or a duo squad, like, I don't recommend it as much, but if you can happen to throw up some walls on that little canal crossover, I mean, more power to you. gonna be a harder grind, obviously, and it's gonna kind of be time consuming. I mean, although you got the Cherno industrial basement area where those little buildings you can loot if you bring that stuff over. A, you gotta carry it. B, you need somebody to cover you at all times. So, I mean, it would be interesting if after somebody watches this video, if they could pull it off and kind of like post a link to it in the comments below. So if you end up pulling it off, your solo or duo squad, let me know. I'd like to see that video, and I'd like to see what you have done to kind of lock up this area